Hello students, today we will discuss about the sectors of the Indian economy. So in here first we will discuss about the organized and unorganized sector. So on the basis of condition of work divided into organized and unorganized sector. So now first you see what is organized sector. So in organized sector terms of employment are regular, registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations. For example, Minimum Wage Act, Factories Act, security of employment, fixed number of working hours, paid leave. So these are the basic features of an organized sector. It means in here terms of employment are regular, suddenly they cannot remove or they cannot terminate you, registered by the government, so definitely they have to follow the rules and regulations. Then security of employment, as I told you that suddenly they cannot terminate you have that right to complain against that organization. Then fix the number of working hour, and if you work extra hour then they have to pay the extra money. And paid leave, it means, which is called like CL, we call it casual leave. So it means if you take the leave, then or that organization will not cut your salary, but it's minimum like 11 days, 12 days. Okay, so this is paid. So these all facilities when you get, then this is the organized sector. And unorganized means I have not written here because it is just opposite of organized sector. It means in unorganized sector, terms of employment are not regular. So whatever I have written here, opposite of this organized sector is called the unorganized sector. It means there is no any rules and regulations. So it's very easy to exploit the laborers. Okay, then there is no any security of employment. There is no any fixed working hour, no extra money for no extra money for extra work, paid leave is not available. So this is called the unorganized sector. So that's why I have written only organized sector, and if you just write in the opposite, then you will get the unorganized sector. Is it clear? Organized and unorganized. How to protect workers in the unorganized sector? So it's very important. This is the time to protect the laborers under this unorganized sector. So in unorganized sector, as already I told you, that workers are not secure. They don't have extra money for extra work, or they don't have the fixed working hour. So it is very easy to exploit them. But in that case, government has to take this responsibility. For example, if you see, if we talk about the marginal and small farmers, so they are easily exploited by the large farmers. So if government provides equipments like fertilizer, HOV seed, and tractor, then easily they can produce and it will solve the problem. So that's why first I have written the support from the government. Government has to take this responsibility. Then small scale industries. So if government is able to set up the small scale industries in the rural and urban area, then so many people will come here. It means casual labor will get the regular work and it will solve this problem. Then removing social discrimination. If you see, then you will find that maximum laborers from scheduled caste, tribe, backward class. Okay, so that's why it is not only they are getting the low wage, even social discrimination is also there. So that's why protection and support is necessary for both economic and social development. So that's why it is very important to protect them. Why? Because for both economic and social development. So there are so many reasons are there, but I have written only 3. Okay, support from the government, small scale industries, and removing this social discrimination. So support from the government means what? Government has to take some steps. It means if they introduced some law then it will solve the problem. Then if government set up some small scale industries in the rural and urban area, then this casual labor will shift to there and it will solve the problem. The removing of social discrimination, as I told you, if you see, then you will find that maximum laborers from the scheduled caste, tribe, backward classes. So they are not getting only the low wage, social discrimination is also there. So that's why we have to remove this social discrimination, because it is very necessary for economic and social development. Sectors, in terms of ownership, so public and private sector. So it is very easy to understand. Public sector means it is owned and controlled by the government, which is called the public sector, and private sector, which is owned and controlled by a person or group of people, this is called the private sector. So definitely public sector, when we talk, then we can give the example of the government sector, which is very important for our development, because private sector generally their motive is to maximize their profit. So that's why in everywhere this private sector you will not find, because always they see the profit. But to maintain the welfare of the country, public sector is playing a very important role. Public school, government hospital. Okay, so these are the example of the public sector. Then Reliance, no? These are the example of the private sector. So you just remember that on the basis of working condition, organized and unorganized, on the basis of ownership, public and the private sector, and in the previous video we discussed about the primary, secondary and service sector. This is on the basis of nature of economic activity. Okay, so in here just minimum 3 points you have to know, because sectors in terms of ownership, public and private. So we already know about the private and public sector. So public, it means owned and controlled by the government, and it is very important for the development of the country, because government does not work for the profit. The main motive of the government to maintain the welfare of the country. But the private sector is owned and controlled by a person or a group of people, and their motive is always to maximize the profit. So that's why everywhere you will not find the private sector. Where profit is there, then only you will find this private sector. Okay, so this is the difference between private and public sector. So I hope you understood this lesson. But if you have any confusion, let me know in the comment section below and I will talk to you there.